racing, it's life. Anything that happens before or after, it's just waiting.
Hello and welcome everybody back once again to the Sim Force Racing GT Challenge Friday Night League, brought to you of course by Sim Staff as well as Coach Dave. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning wherever you are in this fine world. I'm Mike Nause in the booth here tonight. We have a lovely circuit with a lovely championship ahead of us. This is round one on what is going to be an 8-part series, where these competitors are all going to be competing for a $100 prize pool, $50 USD cash on the line for first place. Second place will receive 30, third will get 20, and the top 10 will receive discounts on their Coach Dave Academy Delta subscriptions. More on that in a little bit. Once again, I hope thank you all for joining us. I see we have Darnell already with us here tonight. As I said, we're here at Watkins, Glen, a 3.4-mile circuit founded back in 1956 and unchanged since 1971. Of course, it is located in New York. And 11 corners, 6 to the left and 5 to the right. These drivers are going to be having to tackle 42 meters of elevation, or 141 feet to boot, where we're going to see a lot of high-speed corners. You can see a lovely look of the track here, where we're currently seeing that I Heart New York there. First corner, very quick, heading on into the S's here, flat out the entire way in GT3 cars. And then, of course, that infamous chicane, where the drivers are always looking for an overtake, but never necessarily successful. Heading on into the horseshoe, or the shoe section, not horseshoe section. Of course, it is going to be a bit more of a challenge, a little bit more of the low speed, well, the lowest speed on the track, which is still relatively quite a high speed. But we see that go bowling sign. Let's hope we don't see any fruition of that here tonight. As we have it, though, we are into qualifying. Looks like we have some times on the board as well. Why don't we head down into the session and take a look. As we can see some of the times on the board, Marco Saldana in the Bentley, out of all cars, is currently leading the standings. They won 45.9. 28 thousandths off the pace is Marco Vinicius. Once again, I guess we're going to be pulling this statistic out early, everyone. The human eye, of course, it blinks in 0.2 of a second, in case anyone was curious. So 28 thousandths with 95 thousandths separating the top 5. Less than half of a human blink. That is some margins and what is to be expected here in this championship. I see we have currently 21 drivers on the field for this qualifying session. If you are interested in signing up, do head on over to the SFRGT Challenge Sim Grid. I'll post a link here in chat to our championship. You can find a link there where you can sign up. Don't miss a beat as well. Hit that subscribe and like button if you are interested as well. And we cover, of course, all of the Friday night action here. Round 1, Watkins, Glen. Round 2 is going to be over at Zolder. 80 minutes. This tonight going to be 75 minutes with 1 mandatory pit stop. The drivers are going to be required to take a fixed 25-second stop time where they will be required to take at least 1 liter of, or at least a liter of fuel. And of course, tires optional. We'll take an additional 5 seconds if they would like those. We have it though. Joel did manage to cut that gap down a little bit there, as you can see. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. He did manage to overtake Marco Saldana, but Lucas Costa setting a new time here. The Brazilian LCS driver, pole position by a good margin, 1.5 tenths, with 4 tenths separating Marco and Joel. Marco is also on an invalid lap this time around. He's going to have to get that one back together for the next, along with Vinicius and Miles Jr. Some familiar names, of course, in the championship that we have out on track here tonight. Marcos Vinicius. I'm not sure if that is Vinicius Doozy. Still have not been confirmed on that one, but of course Vinicius Doozy, our previous SFRGT Friday Night Season 3 champion. We'll maybe trying to bring that Vinicius name on for the Season 4. We'll see. The times are not looking in the favor currently, as we also have Miles Jr. in the Porsche 992. Got a lovely flat 6 engine behind the seat of that. Well, I guess kind of behind the rear axle, I should say. Of course, it's a rear engine car. 4-liter flat 6 with 502 brake horsepower. Coming in at a very lightweight compared to some of these other cars. Nice 2,700 pounds. Also, in case you were curious, getting about 10 miles to the gallon in city. I'll let you do the math what it is out here. Now, of course, none of these cars doing too well on fuel mileage. The Porsche, probably one of the more economic cars, to be completely honest. Cunha da Silva in the Spirit Onyx team, the SOT driver, managing to come into P2 for now. Big step at the back end, though. That is going to be cost him a couple tenths on this lap. Still improving, though. Needs 3 tenths to make the time here to get pole position. He will have a couple more attempts, though, if he would like. Comes to the line and does improve, but only by a little bit. Is going to return to the pits and will need to make a pretty quick return. And Fairfon BR91, greetings from Brazil, greetings from America. Hope you're having a lovely evening there in Brazil. I know it's getting to be a little bit late for you guys and gals down there. But appreciate you all tuning in. Obrigado. There's my one Portuguese pronunciation for the night. You know what? We can do one more, I guess, now that I think about it. As he goes wide here onto the zebras. All right, there we go. You happy, Portuguese viewers? I know that rumble strips are called zebras, according to my other Brazilian friend. I hope that is correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I'm right on that one. Marcos Vinicius flying that Brazil flag currently, but not in P1. Lucas Costa holds that title, but it is currently a Brazilian scrap up at the front, I gotta say. Joel Bandera kind of being the lone American, the lone star in the night here. Surrounded, of course, by his, well, Central American counterparts, or Latin America, excuse me, not Central, Latin America counterparts. Marco Saldana in that Rockefeller Racing Bentley trying to improve. Sends it into the chicane there. You can see the car on the edge bouncing over those curbs, even though it is a very heavy Bentley. In case anyone was curious, the Bentley, of course, weighing in at 2,866 pounds in the red corner. No, not really. With a 4.0 liter twin turbo engine, so the same size displacement engine as the Porsche, but of course, this having twin turbo V8 with about 550 brake horsepower. So, quite a rocket ship, these Bentleys, and looking very strong in the recent LFM BOP, which we are in fact running tonight. Heard really good things, and seeing really good things. P5 for the Bentley. It's been a while since we've seen it in the reins, or even in the conversation for that matter. But a bit further back, we also can't fail to mention Devin Smallblock Anthony in that McLaren. Is he in? No, he is in the old McLaren. Or the new McLaren, excuse me. I had a little thought that he was in the old McLaren there for a second, but that looks to be the new one. I can't quite tell. It doesn't look like it has any sticky outy bits on the rear. But I wouldn't imagine why he would be running the old McLaren versus the new. Let's see. No, there are... Okay, we're good. We're good. He is running the... Is he? Yeah. I'm pretty sure he is. We'll find... I'm sure I'll be corrected after this race, but Devin Anthony, not in the small block here tonight. He is representing that twin-turbo V8. Nato Flo, welcome. Appreciate you, brother. Oh, Rocky, or not Rocky there. Devin Anthony has a big moment. Has a tap of the barrier as well. Anthony Macho Man Camacho in the S&B. Doesn't have too much of an issue with that corner. And the Rockefeller Racing does have quite the livery, I gotta say. I love this S&B as well. Let's see. Camacho, what does he have as he heads the line here? It's going to be a 4/10 improvement and a couple positions to be handed to him as well. At one point, that top 5 was separated by less than half of a tenth. That is, or less than, yes, half a tenth. No. Less than a tenth. Half of a blink of an eye. That's what it was. Confusing myself with my own units of measurement. You know, us Americans, we don't necessarily use that standard measurement system that the rest of the world uses. Sometimes we measure things in school buses, and sometimes we measure things in, well, the blink of an eye. Cows are also a good unit of measurement, as well as cattle bells. I mean, anything to do with farming, you typically can make a measuring utensil out of. And Vinicius Doozy Golden Boy needs to be here in the grid. So is that a confirm that Marcos Vinicius is not Vinicius Doozy? I assumed that was the case already, but I just want to... I want that confirmed. But yeah, there is no Golden Boy this season. If that is the case, our previous champion, not here to defend his title. Joel Bandera, can he make pole position here? He needs 8/10. It's going to be a stretch. There is an improvement by a tenth, but not quite enough. SOT with a beautiful livery as well. Of course, Cunha da Silva representing that here tonight. We have that Rockefeller Racing McLaren of Devin Anthony yet to come to the line. There will be no improvement for him. Looks like Nelson Seco as well. No improvement. And the final driver that will be coming to the line is Francisco Barbosa. And he will not actually be making it to the line. That will be the end of qualifying. Lucas Costa takes pole position with Cunha da Silva in second, and Joel Bandera in third. The session waits here to tick over. And there we have it. Suppose we can pull up some lovely B-roll of the track while we wait. As the session here heads on over to the quali session, we're going to be looking forward to Lucas Costa starting off in the first race of the season here on pole position. Great start here for the Brazilian squad as well, with Cunha da Silva in P2. Latin American representation looking strong in this championship and looking dominant as well, it is to be mentioned. All of those Brazilians in chat, do get excited, get on the edge of your seats here, because these drivers are going to be ready to go. Locked in, dialed in, however you would like to say it, as they approach this circuit here tonight. Still waiting for the session to change on over. Don't worry, we'll be back once it does. Sometimes ACC takes a while. It's just the way it goes. In the meantime, as we listen to these lovely beats by Chris Lorande Alpha over on SoundCloud. Thank you, Chris. If you guys are curious, SimStaff, I mentioned that a little bit earlier. SimStaff is hiring, in case you were curious, and they want you. Whether you're a seasoned sim racer or just starting out, here's your chance to dive into the racing industry. Apply now and head on over to simstaff.net. Of course, they're looking over for stewards, for broadcasters, for overall staff in general to run events. Definitely do check it out if you want some opportunities to go to cool places and do some very cool things. SimStaff, yeah, I only have great things to say, as I'm a fan myself. So as we have it here, the session is going to be coming back underway, and we will be meeting our drivers here. We head back to the main feed. You can see our pole position sitter here tonight, and it is going to be Lucas Costa, the number 90 McLaren Evo 2, and it's a McLaren front row lockout as well as a Brazilian front row lockout with the SOT driver of Cunha da Silva lined up in P2. Joel Bandera bringing up row 2 in P3 here, the number 48 Dylan livery. The McLaren Evo 2. It's McLaren dominance here at the front, with a Ferrari breaking up the pack here in P3, the number 17 Brazilian Marcos Vinicius. We have Marco Saldana in P5, the number 111 in that Rockefeller Racing Bentley. We have, apologies, I think I've been correct on this name. I'm going to need that one again here. Any Portuguese speakers in chat, or Brazilians, please correct me, but is it Guilherme? Apologies, that is so not correct. But Pagani in P6, number 44, with Rocky Rocco, the Rockefeller Racing Ferrari in P7. Mo Hammond in P8 with Miles Jr. 9th quickest, and Anthony Macho Man Camacho in the S&B, rounding out P10. Fabiano Rousseau, 11th quickest in the number 78 with Barbosa in P12. Patrick Dubois, the number 87 driver in P13 with Devin Smallblock Anthony in P14. The number 664 with Mike Gravelle in P15 company with Nelson Seco in 16th. Francisco Barbosa, 17th fastest with Dutch Lens in 18th. Jay Davis, 19th quickest in the number 8. Joey Raymer in the AMG, the Nameless Racing, number 76 in P20, rounding out our top 20. And Erwin Elder in P21. Jelson Cruz, 22nd quickest here, and bringing up the back of the grid in that Rockefeller Racing Porsche. The number 9, of course, last but not least, the driver to keep an eye on here, as there are plenty here tonight. We have a good outlap ahead of us, 1 hour and 15 minutes on the clock, 90 minutes ahead of us of this 3.4 mile circuit. Watkins Glen, located in Watkins Glen, New York. 11 corners, 6 to the left, 5 to the right. These drivers have a heck of a lot to challenge or to tackle ahead of us. Cass, welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cheering on Patrick Dubois. I'm not going to start that again. Been a while since I've said that. I'm not going to slip into old habits. Not now. Lizzie, welcome. Love Watkins. I also love Watkins. Lizzie, appreciate you being here. Thank you. cheering on Devin Anthony, I presume, here tonight. Devin Anthony, fairly solid start, P14. Rockefeller Racing here. Let's take a look at the livery as I don't mess anything up on the stream. We're good. Didn't mess anything up. Gotta love it. Audio level's good, everybody. Does I sound good compared to the game? Anything need changed? More audio, less audio? Please let me know now. Look at that. Rockefeller Racing changing their livery up a little bit. Well, still representing that breast cancer awareness. Let's go, Lizzie. Look at that gaggle of cars. You love to see it. Cunha da Silva. What does he have here in the tank tonight? 90 minutes ahead of them, one mandatory pit stop. Of course, fuel being needed in that stop. 25 seconds fixed time. 5 additional seconds if the drivers would like to take tires. Lucas Costa trying to make a statement early on in the season. Is he going to be the one to keep an eye on? We're going to find out here tonight, as there's a lot of question marks in the air for this championship, as it is round 1 of the SimForce Racing GT Challenge. Brought to you by Sim Staff. But as we round the final corner now, these drivers 2x2, Noah's Ark formation. Lucas Costa on pole position, Cunha da Silva in P2. I'm Mike Nause in the booth as we get ready here to come around this corner before we go green. A little bit of a calm before the storm here. The nerves at their highest and the tensions are... We could cut them with a knife here. We're green, 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 and it looks like it's a terrible start for Cunha da Silva, immediately causing a bit of a concertina with some bumping and banging. Lucas Costa gets away pretty easily there. We see some grouping up here into the first corner, more contact being made up in the front. Everybody else, though, seemingly alive here to begin with. Famous last words, we'll find out. Miles Jr. here, hot on the chase, chasing down that 674 of of Rocky Rocco, that is, who had a solid start. Anthony Macho Camacho, no, that's Mo Hammond. So many shakeups and changes here. Ignore that board on to the left, as it doesn't even know what it's talking about. That is Anthony Camacho under threat from Patrick Dubois. Everybody fanning through the chicane here and seemingly good at the start. Dutch Lens losing a position here to Jay Davis. But overall, Marco Saldana chasing down Marcos Vinicius. Not much of a change up at the front, even though despite that chaos that we saw, an absolute terrible start for the man we're looking at here, Cunha da Silva. Got caught sleeping at the wheel, to be completely honest. Luckily, the damage was light. Already pulled a 1 second gap on the car behind. Joe Bandera is fighting for his life currently, with Marcos Vinicius trying to put an end to that. Big Brazilian flag on the top here. As the country, or well, the national pride, I should say, is high, clearly, and as it should be. It's one of the things I love about racing. Cameraman, very confused about where he's looking. We'll take an eye off of that camera. But round the final corner they go to complete lap 1 here tonight. Lucas Costa leads us with Cunha da Silva trailing behind by a second. Joel Bandera, 2.5 seconds to Cunha, and Marcos battling here for the podium. Marco Saldana in P5, Rocky Rocco in P6, Miles Jr. in 7th, Mohammed in 8th, Anthony Macho Man Camacho in 9th, and Patrick Dubois in 10th. Now, these positions are most certainly not going to stay this way. It's a matter of who and when. You see some drivers pulling into pit lane already, interestingly enough. Pagani as well as Rousseau deciding to go for that early pit stop. Not sure that's scheduled, as I would imagine these drivers are going to have to come in for fuel. A little bit too early, in my opinion, to be making that stop. I know one of them is a drive-through penalty, now that I think about it. The other one I'm not too sure about. The front pack here, fairly calm. Cunha da Silva not really making any big lunges or any big looks onto Lucas Costa. Lucas calm, cool, and collective leading this race currently. Anthony Camacho trying to find anything he can here out of that fellow Porsche driver in front, but also needs to keep an eye on that rear view mirror. Patrick Dubois close on the chase. Fastest lap currently held by Lucas. 1:45.0 is the time. Not quite up to that quali spec, that's for sure. Ooh, bit of a wobble there for the Macho Man himself. Is that a little bit of a fortune of what's to come? Well, what is to come here is Miles Jr. trying to make a move into the chicane. Or into the bus stop. This is a dangerous move to make as that gap closes quick, as you can see, and there is contact, and it looks like we have a collision. Rocky Rocco is off, as well as Cunha da Silva up ahead. What has happened? It looks like also Anthony Camacho gets involved. Oh my goodness, we have chaos here on lap 2. Let's find out here what has happened to Cunha da Silva, as that is the one that I am most curious about. Apologies, Rocco. But that is not Cunha da Silva. No, it is. Delivery just disappeared for whatever reason. This is Cunha da Silva, I assure you. Gets out of shape all by himself. Now we see Devin Anthony here getting tagged by Rocky Rocco on the rejoin. Whoa! That was close. That Ferrari there. Who was that? That was very tight. I think that was Devin Anthony, actually. That was a McLaren, I think, of Devin Anthony here as we come back live momentarily. Here we go, we're back live. Manages to somehow avoid that contact, but definitely testing the structural fortitude of his racing trousers is Devin Anthony. So far, so good. We'll be needing those changed, though, in a pit stop, I assure you. I will say, though, Cunha da Silva, late on the brakes. Stellar overtake, keeps it on track, and gets the job done. Lick the stamp and send it, as Daniel Ricciardo would say. What a send. But that collision, though, I gotta say, from the Porsche and was it Rocky Rocco? That was sort of bound to happen, unfortunately. That is just not a great overtaking spot. And it'll be down to the stewards to decide who is at fault for that one. And welcome, Jesus. Message has been deleted. I'm not sure why, but welcome, Jesus. That's some side-by-side action from Marco Saldana momentarily trying to take the podium position here. Forces the likes of Marcos Vinicius wide. That's going to affect him now on that rejoin. Got some marbles on the tires heading into the next corner. The grip not quite there, but Marco Saldana also not quite there. Go Lucas, cheering on our race leader currently, who is doing nothing but improving his lap times lap after lap. So looking very strong for Lucas Costa up at the front. A nice fan of cars, one after another, all heading onto the straightaway. Anthony Camacho here trying to make a move onto Devin Anthony. Whoa, Gelson Cruz thinking of it as well, but I gotta say, Gelson needs to be a bit patient out there. He's trying to go for the outside pass. That is never going to work for multiple reasons. Well, mostly the one being that it's illegal. Gelson just gotta dial that one back a notch and work on it here next time. This, though, not being the spot either. I gotta say, like, everyone wants to go for a move here, and I rarely see it work. Unless you have the overspeed of a lifetime, basically, the overspeed of a different class is what you need. Or, well, some, well, very large structural fortitude in places that I'm not quite as structurally strong, if you know what you're picking up what I'm putting down, chat. But regardless of structural fortitude, it's still a bad spot to go for an overtake, in my opinion. Here's Anthony Macho Man Camacho, though. Heading into the back heel with a lovely line. This should be job done, and it is. Nice overtake there. Devin Anthony under threat from another car. That's Jelson Cruz, but we also have Allure getting involved, taking to that inside line, pressuring on Jelson. The Irwin? Is it Irwin? I apologies. That I'm once again. If anyone has any, wow, what a block! If anyone has any name corrections, please let me know. That was the block of a lifetime. Devin Anthony kind of reaping what he sowed on that one. Moving under braking there, makes a slight bit of contact with his teammate. Rule number 1 of racing, don't hit your teammate. Marco Saldana, one of their teammates, is parked in the, well, S is in a terrible location. You can't park there, sir. Let's see what's led to this. Oh, got a little bit loose all on his own, and then the McLaren assists him around. That was Cunha de Silva giving him that helping hand to face the barrier, but I gotta say, that one all kind of started there with Marco. Shift in weight there for the Bentley a little bit too much. Joel Bandera, that is not a showroom-ready McLaren. Doesn't seem to be affecting his pace too much, but I can't help but notice that the bonnet, well, might have a little bit more cooling than expected. That is, once again, not quite what the engineers had drawn up when they put it in the wind tunnel, but hey, if it's not affecting the pace, then who am I to judge? Mo trying to capitalize on that damage. He seems quicker and he feels quicker. The outside move, and the McLaren peels into the pits. That's going to give a compromised line, though, to Mo Hammond onto the straight. Hamid onto the straights, allowing Miles Jr. an easy pass by. Ooh, but gets onto that inside curbing, which unsettles the car. Forces him wide there. And he isn't able to hold on to the position. That's going to actually put him under threat from Patrick Dubois. We saw some cheers in the chat from Patrick earlier. Seems that he has taken that one. Took both hands to do it. In fact, it's not quite done yet. But as they approach the braking marker of the bus stop, it is job done. An intimidating Rockefeller racing car. Probably the most intimidating Rockefeller racing car out there. Uh-oh, contact between, it looks like Joey Raymer and Devin Anthony. No, that is Joey Raymer, yes. Side by side on the bus stop. Devin Anthony on the inside. Onto the curbage. Joey with a great job of avoidance, I gotta say, but it wasn't enough. Oh, it was enough, actually. Holy smokes. Great job from Joey Raymer. Devin Anthony, once again, that inside line, it's just not where you want to be for that corner, but Joey Raymer, with the reaction time of a cat, somehow avoids that contact. Cost him quite a bit in lap time, but hey, that is better than having a big chunk of your Bentley laying on the side of the road. Devin Anthony, though, back at it. You can see that is the SOT driver of... Who the heck is that? That's Fabiano Rousseau, down a lap. Ay, what has happened to Fabiano in a 78-second pit stop? Oh no, Lizzie comes back and sees that. That's not, yeah, less than ideal, I gotta say. Devin, he's gonna look at the replay on that one and say, yeah, I probably could have done something a little bit differently there. And you know, that's alright. You learn from your mistakes, and you move forward. This is a battle for P8, Jelson Cruz. It's a Rockefeller racing car everywhere you look, it seems. Great job from them. I don't mind looking at it because it's a beautiful livery. Of course, we have Allure, which is what I'm going with, which is once again not correct, and I'm well aware, but if somebody can teach me how to correctly mispronounce this name, I'd love that. But Allure here, on charge in that rear, what is it? Reardon Racing, that's what it is. Not what I thought it was. Devin Anthony, though, immediately back at the charge, coming at it with aggression. Mike Gravelle goes defensive here. We see the 38 car. That's going to be Barbosa and P. Last, unfortunately spun out there in the toe. Won't be impeding these guys. Through the S's. Devin Anthony a little bit too far back to really think of anything here, but the McLaren's quick. That is not to be lost. A very quick car in a straight line. Now the real question is, what is the plan here for Fabiano Rousseau, who is behind? He is a back marker, so he does not have... Alright. Scratch that. Fabiano Rousseau has crashed everybody. Whoa, I apologize on that one, Fabiano. That was a commentator's curse and a half if I've ever seen one. Let's see what happened here. Under braking, way too late. Way too late under braking. Whoa, or something went wrong there, and he didn't fully depress the brake pedal. One of the two. But that was a significant overspeed when he needed to be turning the wheel. This is Dutch Lens here in that RW Racing. P17 chugging along. Currently up a position from where they started. Our biggest gainer here tonight, though, Jelson Cruz, up 14 positions in that Rockefeller Racing and looking to make it a 15th. Will there be team or... No, there's not team orders. Excuse me. Anthony Camacho is not on the Rockefeller Racing team anymore, it looks like. He's in the S&B. Allure looks like he's keen to be going for this overtake here. Into the bus stop. Once again, we've seen how that one turns out multiple times here. We don't see a repeat of it, but we do see Anthony Macho Man Camacho make an unforced error in the bus stop, which allows Jelson Cruz by. Now, is that going to allow Allure by as well? He's on the outside, the unfavored line here, the dirty line. Looks like he is going to have to hold himself back for now, but he smells blood in the water and is going to be going for it immediately. Massive overspeed there. Terrible line, if you ask me, from Anthony Camacho. Weaving, though, from Allure does not allow the line to be taken. Checks in, checks out, checks in, checks out of the slipstream. That's not how you want to make an overtake. You want to keep that wheel pointed in one direction at all times. You either want the slipstream or you don't. There's no in between. Gelson Cruz, though, going to be feeling the pressure now that Anthony felt a couple laps ago. That's what causes those mistakes, that simple mistake that Anthony would make. He could hot lap this track 1,000 times. It wouldn't matter. Well, he'd probably make that mistake. It's a very easy one to make. That's beside the point. But the point is when the pressure's on, when you have cars behind you, that's when you really feel it to make your lines. And there we see another mistake from Anthony Camacho, and that's going to cost him another position. And those mistakes, they add up. That's what costs you those tenths here and there. And we see 2 mistakes from Anthony, and it drops 2 positions. Something to work on for sure. Now, obviously, nobody's perfect. And we're going to see the same, I would imagine, from these drivers in front now that they have the pressure on their shoulders. But the one thing that I am failing to mention is, well, also, I guess the fact that Miles Jr. has caught Patrick Dubois, that's nice. But Lucas Costa, he doesn't feel any pressure right now. 13 seconds ahead of Marcos Vinicius, who is, yeah, he's gone. Lucas Costa's doing a great job. Keep it up. We saw some cheers in chat for Lucas. I haven't mentioned him too much. Well, he's doing great, so. As Miles Jr. went for it. Was a bridge too far, but a valiant send nonetheless. Gotta give credit where credit's due. That's a twitchy Porsche, though, it's to be said. It's a twitchy Aston as well. Both drivers, I think, overdriving that car a little bit. That is another thing that caused mistakes, of course. You get a driver behind you, you start wanting to go faster than you actually can go. And that always, well, slow is fast, fast is slow. I'm sure you've all heard that saying. Definitely applies here in racing. Check back here with this pack of 3. Rocky Rocco battling with Pagani, and Pagani trying to take the position from Devin Anthony. We've seen a few mistakes from Devin. He needs to hold up again. We're talking mistakes. We'll keep mentioning it, I guess. I mean, that is really the difference between the good and the great, is the amount of mistakes that they make, of course. Minimizing those. We've seen one from Rocky as well. Whoa, and there we see one from Pagani. Goes deep into turn 1. Manages to keep it in check, though. But Rocky, though, that's exactly the sight that he wants to see. He tapped the brakes in the S's there. Interesting if he did. I wouldn't imagine he did, but I did see some brake lights come on momentarily. And big damage here from Barbosa. Looks like this has happened here on this lap. Oh, looks like it actually hasn't happened. It just was getting out of the way. But unfortunately here, the number 38, definitely looking forward to next race. P21, not quite where he wanted to find himself at this stage. As we resume back here with the action. Rocky taking the ideal line here. Going to be carrying a good amount of speed onto the straight. This could really push Pagani, but no, it's the corner comes up quick. Doesn't really allow you to maximize that overspeed. A brief yellow flag from Mike Gravelle there. Seems as though there's been a brief contact with the wall. Also Dutch Lens joining that club. Survival is the name of the game. That's huge damage onto Dutch Lens Ferrari. What has happened here? This is a completely unforced error, it seems. Too much throttle? Yes, indeed. Nails the barrier right where it pinches. Gets out of the track very quickly. Great job there. A safe approach from Dutch and a rejoin. I mean, no one was around, so it's not the biggest deal. But that is a non-showroom ready Ferrari, and into the pits immediately comes Dutch Lens. Oh no, and Patrick Dubois has had a similar fate. What's happened here? We're watching replay after replay as we come back here to the replay. Way too deep. That is, oh my goodness, the Porsche. Lovely job there from the Porsche. Oh my goodness, we're going to have to go back to another replay again. Patrick Dubois, best Sum 41 impression. He is in too deep and trying to keep up above in his head. Oh, and there is, we just catch the tail end of what happened to Devin Anthony. Sorry, everybody. Another replay as we go back 20 more seconds here. This is Devin Anthony. We saw him go off all by himself, but I think somebody else got collected in this. Oh no, it was a separate incident. Oh, Pagani clatters the barrier, the unstationary bullards, or not bullards, but plastic, what do you call a plastic guardrail? I don't know what those are called. But regardless, as though it was a tree, Pagani, that is going to be an immediate trip down pit lane. Meatball flag will be out for sure. Nice little fight here between Jay Davis and Marco Soldana. Cracked a new energy drink. I have spilt Monster on my desk. You'd love to see it. That's how it goes. Oh, and that's the Rockefeller Racing. Be it Bentley, well out of shape. I can be mid cleaning up Monster. I can see that one from a mile away. Let's take a look at it again here. This is a completely unforced error. Marco Soldana. Right here is where the back end does no longer want to... Actually, was onto the exit. Interesting. Interesting. So he went too deep on exit there, caught the grass, and that is what upset the Bentley out of all the things. Back up with Cunha da Silva. There's a battle for P2, actually. Marcos Vinicius has no worries about P1. The only thing that would grant him a P1 is a mechanical failure or some sort of failure on the stage of Lucas Costa. Mental failure is still an option. But for now, not worrying about Lucas. The fight here is with the Ferrari behind, the McLaren, excuse me, the McLaren behind. Ooh, and that is a terrible line from Cunha. Does manage to keep it fairly in check, but recovers, I should say. Keeps with it though, deep into the corner, using that maximum track. Of course, we paid for the tracks in ACC. You gotta use all the track, everybody. Maximize that minimum speed. As we have drivers coming into the pits now. Interesting. That's very early if you ask me. With 48 minutes and 30 seconds left in this session, we've had 26 minutes elapsed. I mean, it's undercut, sure. Tire wear is going to be a problem here tonight. The track temp is 40 degrees Celsius, so it's an absolute scorching track temp. Cunha da Silva just hit the wall in case anyone's curious. It's a light tap. I think it was, who was it? Was it Michael Schumacher? It was Michael Schumacher or Senna. Oh, stop go 30 for Marco Soldana speeding in pit lane. That's a mistake right there. But if you're not brushing the wall, what is it? You can't put a perfect lap if you don't just touch the wall just a little bit. It's that mark of pride those drivers wear. You don't want to hit the wall. You just want to brush it. It's painting itself onto your car. You're painting yourself onto it. Something like that. Maybe that's a bit more elegant sounding than it actually is, but... Welcome, Gabriel. Is it Moncano? Is that how you would say that? Obrigado. Regardless. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much. Watching your fellow countrymen here battle it out. Cunha da Silva and Marcos Vinicius. Looks like cheering on Lucas, I'm assuming. Interesting fact here. Over half the drivers have made a pit stop, and we're not halfway through this session yet. That's definitely different. I wonder if we're going to see a two-stop strategy from some of these drivers. That would definitely not be what you're looking for. I think that would, yeah, I mean, these tires are going to be hurting, don't get me wrong. It's going to feel like an absolute pain to drive on. Are you telling me that my cheat sheet for pit times no longer works? It's been deleted. Houston, we have a problem. If anyone has the Assetto Corsa, how long it takes to stop in pit lane, please message me, because it seems that mine has gone away. And Gabriel is Lucas's brother. Oh, okay. Well, a little bit of bias then coming out there. Thank you for clearing that up, Jesus. Uh-oh, Miles Jr. Whoa! Right into the lane of fire there. Does get overtaken by Mo Hammond. Let's see what happened here. The Aston Martin getting a little out of shape behind, but I don't think that has anything to do with it. That is what I was talking about earlier. That curve, very easy to bottom out on that Porsche. Very low, very light and bouncy, and he gets thrown off of the curb. Minimal damage, though. In fact, no damage technically picked up. Just tire damage as well as emotional damage. That's really what is to be kept an eye on here. One position drop from Miles Jr. Not anything that can't be made up. Miles so far doing quite a stellar job. 4 positions gained. Our biggest winner, though, so far is Allure. I'm sure, though, that will change. Allure, one of the back of the pit, or back of the front runners in terms of people that have not made their pit stop yet. So, will be dropping back quite a few positions as a result, of course. You can bring up here the full length HUD. As you can see, the drivers, your favorite driver, the one next to their name, that means that they have yet to make a pit stop. And if they don't, that means they have. Seiko, who hasn't made their pit stop, getting involved with a couple drivers that have. Jelson Cruz here, side by side with Seiko. There's contact. Oh, and there's even more shoving. Some bumping and some banging. It looks like neither of those drivers too happy with each other. Jelson taking that track position. Stewards may be having a look at that one. I'm not sure they're going to make anything out of it. It looked like a bit of, well, both drivers both drivers seemed a bit aggressive towards each other there, so we'll see. Oh, and Jesus Gomez is Lucas's father, so it seems like we have plenty of Lucas Costa supporters out there in chat. We'll give Lucas here a little bit of screen time. In fact, okay. I was going to say, hold that thought. Marcos Vinicius decides to come into the pit. Let's go on board here with a lap of Lucas Costa. In that McLaren Evo 2, flat out here, heading towards that bus stop chicane, looking for that braking marker around that 200 board. Chucks it in, back marker ahead of us, downshift into third, mid-corner. Trying to get that acceleration, the power down, downshift to third again, short shift to fourth though, back onto the throttle, no wheel spin. And into that boot sector, or shoe, or however you want to call it. Out onto the zebras. And now into that on Camber Hill. This is a corner that you can send a deceptive amount of speed into. It's one of the most important corners on the track, actually. A little bit deep there from Lucas Costa. 6/10 down on this lap. Definitely not going to be setting any records, but also has to deal with a back marker. Flash of the headlights there, letting him know the presence. I think we will be seeing here after these next two corners, I think we're going to see that Porsche lift off the throttle. You can see the dirty air affecting Lucas Costa. He hasn't driven behind anybody all race, so that dirty air catching him off guard a little bit. This should be a move, but no. All right. Rockefeller Racing deciding there, or is that the Rockefeller Racing? I think it is. No, it's S&B, excuse me. The S&B there, I think that's Anthony Macho Man Camacho deciding that there is a better time and a better place to be letting him by. There's the onboard lap with Lucas Costa. Seems like a few other drivers making their pit stops. Still a little early, in my opinion. I think the longer you wait on this track, the better. There is the overtake. Not much of an issue there for Lucas. Didn't hinder his time much at all. Mohamed is 36 seconds behind Lucas Costa. Luis Costa. Yeah, no, I think that's a good explanation indeed here. Lucas, a bit of a Hamilton-esque drive here, at least a couple of years ago, of course, storming his way into the lead. Of course, Hamilton is he's a fellow Brazilian. Of course, how could I not forget? An honorary Brazilian citizen. When was that? Back in 2020? Is that 2020? Is that 2021? Was that even old? I think that was even a while ago, but I think it would have had to be before 2021, obviously. That was Anthony Camacho there, slotting himself back into track right behind Miles Jr. It's actually a battle for position here as he rejoins the track on cold tires onto the marbles. I do not think we're going to be seeing an overtake happen here, or are we? Please don't. Anthony Camacho is going to send it on cold tires on the inside. Oh, and it's a big one. Miles Jr. and Anthony Camacho. Oh, I couldn't have predicted that one. That was a bad. Yeah. Anthony Camacho will watch that one and once again think, yeah, I probably could have done something a little bit different there. Uh-oh, what has happened here? Miles Jr. and Nelson Seco have had an incident of their own. Let's see what happened here. This involved, there's a slow Porsche on the inside. Oh my, I think that was just a little bit of, I think his eyes were fixated there on the wrong part of the track. Now, what happened to Miles Jr.? No, Miles Jr. is, excuse me, Miles Jr. is that car that got involved. My apologies. Miles Jr.'s car is destroyed, by the way. That hit to the barrier. His car looks okay, but it's not. Yeah, he's, that car's seen better days. Definitely doing what he can to make it back to pit lane here. Almost would be better just to return to garage, which, you know, no driver ever wants to do, obviously. But that was a big hit. And the stewards, as I said, definitely going to be taking a look at that one. That was a fairly cut and dry, unfortunately. Much as I hate to say it. Regardless of that, Cunha da Silva happily climbing his way back up the field. He's down 4 positions still. Lucas Costappen. Oh, come on. You can't use that one. You're Brazilian. You can't use that. You gotta go with the Luis Costa. I think Luis Costa has to be the one to stick. You can't get that name out of it. You can't have Lucas's name in there with that Dutchman. I just made all well, about probably statistically, probably about 60% of the viewers upset, but that's okay. If you guys are enjoying this stream, do please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It does help out tremendously here. It is free on YouTube as well. Of course, I'm Mike Nause in the booth. We're here at the SimForce Racing GT Challenge Round 1, Season 4 at Watkins, Glen, brought to you by SimStaff. SimStaff, a global powerhouse for staffing solutions in the world of digital motorsports. Whether it is in the world of sim racing, esports, or excuse me, whether your brand seeks short-term freelance professionals, full-time contracted experts, or top-tier technical support, we've got you covered, as well as they are hiring and looking for stewards, looking for any sort of staff in the sim racing community. If you're looking to host events, travel to fun places, that's the beauty of SimStaff. You get to host events in different states, in different countries, well, different states, different areas, depending, different countries. If you are in Europe, actually, I should clarify there. But do head on over to simstaff.net, check them out. They are actually amazing. As well as, of course, Coach Dave. Let's not take any mention away from that. Thank you to Coach Dave for providing the Coach Dave bundles that they are going to be given out at the end of the season. Of course, that Coach Dave Delta has come out very recently, and it is awesome. If you guys haven't seen, if you're looking to improve, get that. They have telemetry as well as lap analysis, plenty of different little statistics that is for these sim racing nerds that you guys are, of course. Even if it's not, it gives a very approachable, viewable way to display data in racing. And so just for $9.99 a month, you can head on over. You get free, you get setups included with that, I should say. Setups from Jardier as well. So the best setups, telemetry. I'm pretty sure on telemetry, yeah, I'm pretty sure on telemetry. I think I saw that. But it's an amazing setup. Coach Dave Delta, do check them out as well. I think we have a link in the description. If not, it will be there next week. It definitely should be there. Taking a look back at the action here, this is for position. Marcos Vinicius is defending from Cunha da Silva. For P4, or rather for P3, I should say, the final podium slot here is on the line. Still some time, though, to decide it. Seems Cunha not really gaining much, it is to be fair here. That is, I think, to be planned at this stage of the race. Cunha, a little bit of fuel saving, a little bit of tire saving. Not wanting to go for it just yet. There's no point. He feels that the pace there is pretty even, which, to be fair, looking at their lap times, is a very true statement. Their best laps, 145.9 compared to a 146.4, actually, of Marcos Vinicius. So the pace very much favoring Cunha da Silva. Cuna's really just playing a waiting game at this stage. It's almost, I think it'd be almost beneficial if he did go for that overtake sooner than later. He seems to have the pace in his belt, but whether or not he needs to use it, I guess that's the question. Just playing it safe at this stage. As we hop on board here with the McLaren, you can listen to that twin-turbo V8 as it roars down the straight here. Such a lovely sounding car. Back markers getting involved here. Whoa! I do not think that car saw the second. Ay, that was close. Who was that? That's Barbosa. Barbosa, I do not think was expecting the second car there of Cunha da Silva to be there. Saw the blue flag of Marcos Vinicius. Was like, all right, cool. We'll clear it. We'll clear it. Cleared it. And then, so why is there still a blue flag on my dash? And then he looked in his rearview mirror and saw that there's a very aggressive McLaren coming by. While we're kind of in a bit of a lull before they go for the overtake here, let's take a look. Look at this SOT livery. I know we had Nato Flow in chat earlier. I'm pretty sure he is the creator of this. Whoa, excuse me. Is the creator of this livery. Very nice. Love the skulls on the back. Is that trees or is that a wave? It's hard to tell. It looks like both, actually. Very clean, though. Very clean here from the SOT team. And 30 minutes on the clock. Sun's very bright right now. It is still 40-degree track temp, 32-degree ambient. All of our drivers have made their pit stops. Some drivers, though, made some very early stops, and they're going to be suffering later in this race. I guess taking a look here at some drivers that are going to be suffering, I think Joel Bandera, he's going to be feeling it at the end of this race. He pit 32 minutes ago, around that 1 hour mark, and those tires, he did elect to take tires during his stop as well as repair some damage, but I'm not sure. Of course, he did have to take that stop due to the damage that he took, so it wasn't necessarily, this is not the plan that he was going for, but it's the one that he's on here. Also, Patrick Dubois pit 20 minutes ago, same with Devin Anthony, so they could be struggling as Marco Saldana on much fresher tires than Devin. They're on the same team. We'll see if there's any team orders that come into play. Of course, Marco started in a much higher position, P5, but had a little bit of an incident that dropped him down the field. Anthony Camacho, we obviously saw at the bus stop, and what put him in the position that he's at currently. Uh-oh. Joel Bandera. Flash of the headlights from behind. That's Jay Davis. Or no, it's not. Not sure who that is. But what's happened here? This is Joel Bandera. I'm sensing a bit of right foot. Yeah, it looks to be the case. A little bit too much right foot around that corner. Puts him into a little tap of the barrier. I mentioned a trade of paint earlier. It's a driver. The drivers wear that can't speak. Badge with pride. That, not so much. That was a bit more than a bit of a paint swap. Definitely some damage going to be picked up there. Whoa, Aston Martin not sure which way to go either. Stop go 30 picked up for Miles Jr. He's going to be making his stop this lap. Nelson Secco with a yellow flag. I think just getting out of the way there. Very respectable. Jesus, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you very much. Obrigado. Once again, my terrible pronunciation. But, yeah, I'll let you laugh at that one. You can... I'll let you laugh at my pronunciation. It's fine. I know it's not ideal. But thank you for being here once again. Hope everyone's having a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning wherever you are in this fine world. I know it's getting a little bit late in Brazil, probably around 10 o'clock, depending on where you are. So staying up nice and late, watching some fun racing with me. And, uh-oh. Rocky Rocco, and the Rockefeller Racing Ferrari. Oh, doing some drifting. Now that is, well, not, I know you've heard the, well, you may or may not have heard the term calculated slip angle. That was not calculated slip angle. That was a crash. Oh no, and then too much throttle on the rejoin as well. You hate to see it. A little bit of a race to forget for Rocky. Still, not the worst result, P11. Nothing to shake a stick at. Is going to let the couple front markers through. Very respectable there. But with a gap of 14 seconds, well now, yeah, 14 seconds to Devin Anthony. It's looking pretty good. Marco Saldana slowly reeling in the flounder that is Devin Anthony. We'll see. Can he hold on? Can he snap the line of Marco Saldana? That's the question. I think there's some damage picked up on Devin Anthony's McLaren. May have been repaired during pit phase. I appreciate it, Jesus. Devin's seeming strong, I gotta say. Been a good race for him. P12, I know it doesn't quite say the whole story. Still, 2 positions gained. He's had some ups, he's had some downs, and even if he doesn't hold this position to Marco Saldana, I think it's been a pretty good race for Devin. Made a mistake at one stage, but still held his head high and kept on to the road, and that's the biggest thing, right? Some people, they get into collisions, they get into accidents and say, oh, I'm gonna pack it up, that's enough. Well, you're never gonna have a result like this where you still improve at the end of the day, even with a collision. And that goes back to that learning that I said earlier. You know, you make a mistake, you move on, and get back on the road, really. And that's what Devin's done here tonight. And he's continuing on it, so good on him. Won't jinx him, though, as the race is not over, and it's still easy to make a mistake at any stage in this race. Watkins Glen is, it's not a track that people practice, I think, the most. It's a great track, and probably the most popular American track in the game, if I had to say, in terms of course, obviously, you have Coda, you have Indy, you have Laguna, not to take that one away. I'm missing one, obviously. What am I missing? What am I missing? I'm missing one. Anyways, there's one more that I'm... Chat? What am I missing? Regardless, let's take a look here at this battle. This is the one to keep an eye on. Pagani and Gravelle. Pagani ended up there into one of those walls earlier on with more damage, well, than I think anyone has sustained in a while. Big hit to the front end, back out on track, though, and trying to tackle the likes of Gravelle. Flash of the headlights, trying to get in the head here. This is for position, so Mike not obliged to move at all. Not that a blue flag is obliged to move anyways. Of course, the blue flags are mostly to alert the presence of the driver behind. And the rules being no blocking for blue flags. That's the biggest thing, is you can't intentionally block somebody. Like that. But it's all good. When it's for position, it's totally fair. But regardless, like I say, if that was a blue flag, that would be a no-no. But it's not. We do have a blue flag, though, approaching. Or no, that's... I keep forgetting. I think that's a back marker, actually, now that I think about it. Let's see here. No, it is Bandera. Bandera's in P8. So both these drivers getting a blue flag here on the straight. You can see the marshal waving that away, but they're a little too occupied right now to deal with that. I think if Pagani was to hand that position over, it wouldn't result too well. Well, here we go, though. Making the moves onto the straight, potentially. We've seen how this one goes. Please don't take the inside line, Pagani. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Close your eyes, folks. Oh my goodness, Mike. He backs out. Smart move there from Mike Gravelle. He says, nah, I've seen this one before, and just backs out of it. Great driving there from Mike. Gotta hand it to him. That was a scary one. Thankfully, it does not end in tears. Mike Gravelle says, enough's enough. This is a battle for position, actually, between Joel Davis and Jay Davis and Joel Bandera. So 4 P8. Joel currently in the McLaren holding on. Joel is definitely a driver to pat himself on the back in this race. 5 positions down, but once again, that is not to say the story of this race, because he has had some tough times and come back from them. Whoa, that's never what you want to see. Dutch Lens, I think they're facing the incorrect direction on track. Not quite ideal, but doesn't get in the way of anybody, thankfully. Keeping an eye on that mini-map. Our leader coming by, but looks like Dutch not wanting to get in the way at all. BMW stalking his prey currently. I think Jay has the pace. Last lap, 149.6 to a 150.4. Jay with the advantage. And a 147.5 being the fastest lap in general for Jay, but a 147.4 from Joel. So Joel has the best potential pace, but I had mentioned earlier, Joel took that pit stop very, very early on. And Jay, well, he is on 15-minute-old rubber. So the tires looking much fresher. Uh-oh, what's happened here? Mike Gravelle. Well, he may not have crashed here last time around, but a self-inflicted error. Oh, keep an eye out. Wow. Whew. Not even phased was that Ferrari. Mike Gravelle, unfortunately there, doesn't quite work out for him. Checking back into Jay Davis. That's Patrick Dubois approaching that rearview mirror. Whoa, and Joel Bandera is deep and gone. Loses the position. I'm not completely sure what happened to Joel there. That did maybe just look to be like enough's enough as he pulled to the side, but he has dropped back 3.5 seconds already. Patrick Dubois looks eager. Uh-oh, Jelson Cruz, our P6 runner who's been doing such a good job too. Makes an unforced error again. Let's see what happened. This is on the exit here, heading onto the outer loop. Way too deep. Almost saves it. That's what you call a Porsche moment right there. Just rear engine car things. A BMW you'd never see make that move. Here we have an Aston and a BMW. I think the two lone runners on track. I don't think there's another Aston or BMW. It's Ferrari, McLaren, and Porsche dominance in this championship, with a lone Bentley, a lone AMG, 2 Aston Martins, and a BMW. We are running the LFM BOP, as I said earlier, but just to remind everybody. And if anyone is interested in signing up for these championships, there's $100 on the line in prize points, $50 for P1. Still on the cards. Head over to SimGrid, the SFRGT Challenge SimGrid. A link in chat for you guys. Do check it out. Fun championship. Great drivers in here. Great community as well. You can check out the SFRGT Challenge Discord. That, I'm pretty sure, is in the description, but once again, if it's not, it's definitely over on our SimGrid. Okay, everybody, brace yourselves. Here we go. I've seen this before. Looks like, though, I think Patrick has the overspeed. So that's what I mentioned earlier when you say you gotta have the speed to overtake a different class in order to make an overtake happen there, and that's exactly what Patrick just showed us. Got the better exit. Jay there kind of was left in the dust with nothing to do when the overtake happened before they even reached the braking marker, which is the only way you can make that happen. Even if you're fully alongside, you still got to back out. Uh-oh. A bit of a stir up here for the Ferraris in the back. Seems like everybody is all right, but a bit of a kerfuffle. Still not going to take my eyes off this battle. Just because the Aston got the position does not mean it's over. Jay Davis. No slouch in terms of lap times. Also, he has been improving. In fact, was quicker last lap. Let's see if he can continue that trend. They come to the lines 147.9 to a 148.6. Patrick seems to be quicker. I'm still not sure Patrick's put in a valid lap yet, now that I'm looking at it, but that seems hard to believe at this point. As we've completed 32 laps, I find it extremely hard to believe that he hasn't put in a valid one, and that my timing charts is a little bugged out. That's what I'm going to go with on this one. We got some cheers in chat for Pagani. Pagani's had some ups and downs this race, currently in P15. Not the result I think that they're looking for in the round one here, but definitely something to come back from. As there is a drop round, I think. I'm 99% sure there's a drop round. So, if you do join the championship, as of this next round, you'll still have the opportunity to get a full score of points. As long as your round one will be your drop round, of course, but you can still sign up and receive a full load. So if anyone's saying, oh, well, you know, maybe there's no point in joining the championship if I can't win, well, you still can very easily. In fact, even on round two, you're still not out of the money. Anything can happen in racing, and it normally does. We've seen that here tonight, and I'm sure we're going to see it again in the future. One thing that is certain that we have seen, though, is absolute and assured dominance from Lucas Costa. 26 seconds is the gap to Marcos Vinicius, who has been holding on from Cunha da Silva, I have to say, by 2.5 seconds pretty much the entirety of this race. Mohamed in P4, 22 seconds is the gap to Cunha, and 12 seconds is the gap to Allure in P5. Gelson Cruz, another driver not to shake a stick at, in P6. In his own comfortable gap with 10 seconds to the front and 10 seconds to the back. Joey Raymer in 7th, Patrick Dubois in 8th, Jay Davis in 9th, and Joel Bandera rounding out our top 10. Cass cheering on Patrick again. He's going to need it. He's got some work ahead of him, 21 seconds, but he also has some work behind him in Jay Davis. Gabriel. Honestly, he hasn't even really had the opportunity to say any of that, and especially the brother part, which definitely is how that song went. Yeah, he's been, nobody's even needed to move out of the way for him. He's just that quick, honestly, this race. No one has gotten in his way. So far, though, Marco Saldana, he's singing that song in his head to his teammate Devin Anthony. Devin Anthony is a bit of a thorn in the side here for the Bentley of Marco Saldana, but with those team orders, it looks like he has to keep it in check. but I feel like he's going to be saying, I can get that position. I know I can. But is it really worth the race to your teammate? Is it really worth the risk of having that talk afterwards of saying, yeah, sorry, man. I know we're working for the same goal in the race win, but we're also, you know, as a team, we're working for the same goal as well, and we didn't do that tonight. Well, haven't seen that yet. But as I said earlier, rule number 1 of racing, don't hit your teammate. So far, though, Marco Saldana, 8 positions down from where he started in that 111. Lap times are looking good, 147.6. Almost on pace with the leaders, on pace with Mo in P4. Our leaders, though, 146.1 last lap, 146.2, or excuse me, 146.6 from Marcos. The times have slowed down. The tire wear definitely getting the best of some of these drivers. Devin Anthony going to be feeling it for sure. And with 10 minutes left to go, it's going to be tough. I'd almost be worried if I was the likes of Joel Bandera. I might even be worried about a blowout, to be completely honest. It's a bit of a stretch. It's only been an hour. But 51 minutes out on the same rubber in these conditions at 40 degrees track temp. You're driving on balloons. You hit a curb the wrong way, it's really easy to pick up a puncture. It can happen when it's hot, it can happen when it's cold. It's hot. Very hot today. Whoa, Joel Bandera. All right, we're taking the camera off of you. No jinx in here. Bentley of Marco Saldana. Why don't we take a look at the livery here? We're taking a look at the livery of his teammate, Devin Anthony, representing that new Rockefeller livery. I think this is the old one, if I'm not mistaken. Or it's new with subtle changes, one of the two. A bit of damage picked up on that rear end. Not affecting him too much, it seems, but that might be the difference maker. Ooh. Car stranded to the side, pay no mind. You can see, as we make sure to go into the right side of the car. Bentley, such a lovely car, such a great sound. Marco piloting with excellence as well. It seems that our top 3 is pretty much decided. I don't see anything changing. Minus Cunha da Silva maybe overtaking Marcos Vinicius from a change from P2 to P3, but even that, you'd be hard-pressed to convince me that that was going to happen. 4 seconds is the gap, anything's possible, but Marcos has been pretty on top of it. And especially on this track, it's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake. We're seeing that right now. There's just no heavy braking zones in this track. There's no hairpins. I mean, we're about to come into a hairpin, but it's a high-speed hairpin, that's the thing. All of these corners, you're carrying, I mean, we'll see here on the dash, if we can, the wheel kind of blocking it. But you're carrying about 100 kph mid-corner. I mean, you're going minimum speed here is probably around 40 miles an hour. That's probably the slowest that you're going, if not even quick, probably 60, honestly. I don't think you ever get below like 60 miles an hour. It's not a low-speed track. There's no real lunging opportunities. You got to be quicker than your opponent. That's the real difference maker. Speed and consistency. But also, of course, speed and power. Let's be honest. We got to get that quote in here somewhere. Speed and power from Marco Saldana is what's required. But also a bit of precision. Jay Davis has not left Patrick Dubois, it is to mention. 1.5 seconds currently is the gap. Patrick, though, seemingly comfortable with his lap times. Last lap, 0.3 slower, but he's been quicker for more or less the entirety. Really just keeping an eye here for the next few minutes on this battle. This is the closest one on track. I wonder if there are team orders at play, because I really haven't seen too much of a look from Marco Saldana onto his teammate at any point. He hasn't gone for a big lunge. He hasn't gone for a move that really doesn't make any sense. He's just been patient and hasn't even really gone for much at all. So I sense there's more on the line here, and I may be overhyping something, but it's all we got right now. Oh, Marco Saldana's deep. Powers through it, though. Like, it doesn't even affect the Bentley. That's alright. Apparently the Bentley, in case anyone was curious, solid off-roading vehicle as well. Did not know that that rear-wheel drive, as well as 2,800 pounds, or excuse me, I think the Bentley is even more than that. Bentley is 2,800 pounds of, well, steel, steel and carbon fiber. Didn't realize that was the off-roading vehicle of choice, but then again, hey, Lamborghini's making them nowadays. Let's see, as our leader now coming around the final few corners, we're going to have a few more laps here. I think 3 in total. Gives Marco a good chance. There's the back marker. I think that is Barbosa, if I'm not mistaken. Looking at the livery. Hasn't had a great race. Another one to forget there, unfortunately. Barbosa down 2 positions from P17. I'm going to say we started the race with, I think, 21 drivers. We still have 20 in the session. And 20 out on track. So, 1 driver dropping. That is... You'd love to see that. I mean, you hate to see that 1 driver drop, but my goodness, that is some great attendance. The Bentley is getting tired. Says, I've seen enough of that rear wing from that McLaren. Time to start making some moves. Now, can Devin handle the smoke? That's the question. We've seen Devin fall earlier. And that is an intimidating sight, to say the least, if you're Devin Anthony, having that big old Bentley in that rear view mirror. And boy, is it quick in a straight line. That is intimidation factor right there. Lovely camera view. And the leader across the line to start his penultimate lap, Lucas Costa. We'll have 1 more before the white flag falls. Marco needs to get a hurry up if he wants to overtake his teammate, and I know he does. Needs to be careful, though. He has a couple off tracks, I'm pretty sure, and as you rack up more and more, of course, you pick up 4 off-track warnings, well, you're going to be having a trip down pit lane, and there's nothing you can do about it. Going to be a mandatory drive-through penalty for exceeding track limits. Got to keep an eye on that. Over the course of 90 minutes, it's an easy mistake to make. Devin Anthony goes defensive. Marco Saldana follows suit, interestingly. Almost should have, in my opinion, just should have held that line and maybe sent it in the first corner, but once again, you such split-second decision-making. And it's also easier for me to say in the booth than it is for them out on track, but you can see the eagerness here from the Bentley. Let's hope it's not too eager. Got to be careful. We've seen this one before. He sticks in the slipstream. I think he is very... he has a look, but yeah, be careful. It's not worth it, as that is pretty much the result every single time that we've seen, and I think that's the charge done and dusted. Marco Saldana is going to have to settle for P13. Lucas Costa begins his parade lap. We'll stick on board with him, or stick with him here for the next 3.4 miles. As he has not put a foot wrong this entire time. Lucas Costa, dominance is an understatement. Gotta say, been a really great race here. Once again, SFRGT Challenge here. Friday Night League Season 4, brought to you by SimStaff. SimStaff, ready to turn your passion for sim racing into a profession? SimStaff is on the lookout for talented sim racers and enthusiasts like you. Join them in sharpening the future of sim racing. Head on over to simstaff.net for more information. Or you can ask me, alternatively, like I say. So any questions about SimStaff in chat, feel free to ask. I'm happy to provide, if I know the answer, obviously. But thank you to them for providing for this season, as well as to Coach Dave and the new CDA Coach Dave Delta bundles. But the time has now fallen. 2 more corners to go. Lucas Costa rounding the penultimate corner here. With 1 more to go before he takes the race win. Dominance here once again tonight. Got pole position in qualifying. Managed to hold the lead on the first lap. And has led every single lap since. Lucas Costa takes the checkered flag and wins the race of, well, the first race. Great wording, Mike. Thank you. Marcos Vinicius up next, 35 seconds later. A real testament once again to Lucas Costa's dominance. And the support from Lucas's family in chat as well. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you all, guys and gals. And there is Marcos Vinicius for P2. Cunha da Silva next to the line here for P3. Mohammed with a happy P4. I don't think there's going to be any disappointment in the eyes here of the number 80 car. Made up 4 positions. Allure also up 16 positions. So, very happy driver here tonight for the Brazilian. Allure comes around the final corner now with the likes of the Rockefeller Racing of Marco Saldana behind him. And they finish off strong. Side by side on different laps, of course. Anthony Camacho not too far behind, but what a battle, what a race. Lucas Costa, Marcos Vinicius, and Cunha da Silva are your top 3. Great racing, though, once again. Of course, we are going to be back next week. So do look forward to that. It's going to be back next week at Zolder. Same time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to develop this championship further. 80 minutes. Do sign up. Head on over to our SimGrid Championship link in chat if you guys are interested. But on that note, I've been Mike Nause. Hope everyone has a lovely evening, afternoon, or morning, wherever you are in this fine world. Thank you, and good night.